I don't even need to like. Sure. There we go. Careful, I'm lying. Don't worry, you won't be seen. Maybe light of you. Thanks, James.
Jesus, your hands are cold.
Always are. You know that. Hi, darling. I need to fix that look. Rejoice. Your mad Scottish woman is live. Let me promote myself. Okay, this needs fixed. Interesting. Oh, yeah. Right. No. Give her. Oh, Tommy. There you go. You can go there. I'll go into my what? Away. And watch later. There you go. There you go. Fuck it. Why not? No. Fuck it. Oh god, it's my pepper. Fuck it, why not? Maybe we'll get it over with. Fuck it, just put in general. Okay, gonna do oil. Okay. Everyone might be too mad, and I don't blame them. Going to the chat shopper. We'll have to do excellent. Do that there. Oops. Thank you. There we go. There we go. Okay. I'm not worried. If anyone appears, I will be back. Oh, damn, I've knocked over Hella. Sorry, Hella. Hello? My God. No, wait. Anyway, this is Lucy Powell. She might win. Who knows? Deputy Party Leader contest for the Labour Party. The party currently in government here in the UK. It's probably going to be Bridget Phillipson, who is Education Secretary. Lucy might win. You never know. With apparently Morgan McSweeney's a political genius, good at organising votes, apparently. That will get put to the test at the next general election. I seriously hope he gets proven wrong. By the looks of it, I'm going to be correct. And I'm going to be saying, told you so. Funny that. People on the left being correct and not getting listened to. James O'Brien, can you hear me? Can't believe he used to listen to him. Didn't buy any of his books. Thank God for that. I know family and friends who bought his books. They're regretting it now. It sits in their bookshelves, gathering dust, where it should be. In a book, well, not in a bookshelf, just gathering dust somewhere. I haven't read any of his books actually. Maybe I should, just to see how wrong he is. Is it really necessary at this point? I'm not quite sure. Hmm. Anyone? Hmm. Ooh, Lena's still going. Go on, Helena. I like that table. That looks fucking amazing. Excuse me.
Double the percentage which they got in the general election, pretty much 60%, which is insane, especially in the context of the fact that like, the Conservatives, I think one part of the Conservatives, 15%.
Oh, God. You know what? Minimize your settings. Onto my own Discord. On Discord. Select on. Oh, like this. Copy that. Oh, there we go. Nice home. Hmm. This can't be much fun. Ah, stop it. This is from The Guardian. Shall we? Labour deputy contender Lizzie Powell calls for culture change at number 10. That ain't gonna work. Ex-Commons leader says she wants Downing Street to be better connected to MPs and that she would deliver difficult truths to the Prime Minister. Pull the other one, Lucy. There's bells on it. Peter Walker, senior political correspondent for The Guardian. Lucy Powell has called for a change of culture inside Keir Starmer's Downing Street to make it more inclusive and better connected to MPs, promising that as Labour's deputy leader, she would, when needed, deliver difficult truths to the Prime Minister. Oh, Lucy, darling, I don't think that's possible. Speaking to the Guardian after she secured 117 MP nominations in the battle to replace Angela Rayner, Powell said a sequence of what she called unforced errors by the government had left many Labour MPs and members frustrated. Really? Okay. Powell now faces a vote of party members against Bridget Phillipson, Education Secretary, by the way. The Education Secretary, who reached 175 endorsements and is viewed as number 10's preferred choice to take on the role. That means Gordon McSweeney's choice. Powell was Commons leader until she was sacked from the government in last week's reshuffle. A decision she said was a complete shock and for which she has yet received no explanation. Do you not think you would have got one by now? Just saying. She said she believed it could be because she sometimes passed on MPs' concerns to Downing Street, and that if elected, she would hope to continue as shop steward. Stop using our language. You're not of the left. Well, maybe slightly. But you're not as left as me, obviously. Making the government less factional and closed off. God. Adults in the room, everyone. We need some change. We do need a change of culture, especially how we're going about making decisions and how we're going about including people, she said. Sorry. Shouldn't do that. I'm in danger of choking on my own irony at this point. I really, really want this Labour government to succeed. Good luck. And we're at our best when we use all the talents we've got. You've picked out all the talent, by the way. All the voices that we've got. You've lost a lot of voices. the experience that we've got. You kicked out quite a lot of the experience of the Labour Party. So did Blair, by the way. To make better decisions and have fewer unforced errors. Why is she using tennis language? The states that are really frustrating people, frustrating us, really. So went beyond that. Thanks, Lizzie. We've got a bit of groupthink happening at the top. There I go. I'm going to get smite for hubris at some point in my life, I'm sure of it. That culture of not being receptive to intimidation, not being receptive to differing views. You kicked us all out. Hell mangers. But it's a show of strength, a show of being effective. When you're receptive to interrogation and accountability and different views. Oh dear God. And then you come to better decisions. God, my face is going to hurt by the end of this article. Oh, Lucy, please. Lucy. Bridget. Concerns about seemingly click-ridden and unresponsive Downing Street operation are common among Labour MPs. They're common amongst playwrights. And while some blame senior number 10 staff such as Morgan McSween. Oh God, make it stop. Powell said Starmer must also take responsibility. Well, as if he had a part in this, she said, culture is set at the top. Yes, it is. Of course it is. Powell said, however, that her aim was to be constructive. Good luck. And help avoid errors such as the U-turn over changes to disability benefits and winter fuel payments, and the initial defence of Mandelson before he was sacked as UK ambassador to Washington. Oh dear God. What I don't want is to oh, what I don't want to do is stand at the sidelines, filling the airways with criticism of the government. Just leave that to me. Thanks, Lizzie. She said, I really want this government to succeed. I say again, good luck. But I'm afraid to speak, but I am not afraid to speak truth, where that truth needs to be spoken. In the main, I would hope to do that within the family, and let's have a broad family. Oh, fucking hell. People are frustrated at the moment. We're more than frustrated. Trust me on that. There are issues, really. No doubt about that. I want to make sure that our MP and our Labour members feel proud and enthused with what this government is doing. so they can be the best champions for it they can be. I'll say again, good luck. I think to do that, we need to be more inclusive. You kicked us out. Now, mind you, we need to respect and take on board a broad church that the Labour Party is. I say again, you kicked us out. Reaching the members' ballot caps, a tumultuous week for Powell, who lost her job in the reshuffle prompted by Rayna's resignation over the underpayment of stamp duty, or whatever. She said MP's reaction to her sacking had prompted her to think she should stand, saying a number asked if she could somehow continue her liaison role within the backbenches. She said, I thought actually it's probably going to be only me or someone being backed by the machine of the leadership that can get on the ballot here. So I think I'm going to have to put myself forward. Returning to the subject of whether her occasional relaying of MP's views to Number 10 had played a role in leaving the cabinet, she said, no one has given me that feedback. I wonder why. And I have asked for it. I try and feedback concerns and try to feedback the mood, and maybe that wasn't received well. Really? Must have been going for 40 minutes and no one's turned up. Is Helena still going? Oh, no. Helena isn't live anymore. She must have dated someone else. Okay. Oh my god! I have people. Hello, lovely lurkers. Welcome. Did you get any of what I was saying there? I can go over it again if you like. I might actually be able to keep a straight face this time. Maybe. Hang on. I've got 3 here and I've got 3 here. Hello, lovely lurkers. Oh, Lucy. Poor sweetie. You never know, you might get voted as deputy leader. We'll find out. Okay, I've got another story. Where is my Discord? Hello, also from Guardian. Oh, look, it's Peppa. And yes, I don't know if it's Mrs. or Ms. or Ms. Clara. Yes, Peppa's Scottish, by the way. I recognise the name Jessica Elgott. I've probably read stories by her. Can Keir survive? I will answer that. No. Inside the plot to bring down the Prime Minister, that happened a lot. Not just in the Labour Party, and the Tories, and the Lib Dems, and the Liberals, and the Whigs. It has happened for the last 200 or 300 years, really. Would you look at this? With his government mired in scandal and operations to dethrone, Starmer is now underway. Okay, Pippa. There's been a joke going around Labour MPs over the past week about 3 envelopes in Soviet Russia. You what? The Soviet Union was collapsed. It was taken out from within. Thank you. Whenever you run into trouble, open them in order. The instructions go, envelope 1 says, blame your predecessor. Yeah. Oh, no, it does not. So he does, and it works. The party officials are satisfied. A year later, problems arise again. He opens envelope 2. It says, restructure the organisation. He's 2 for 2 so far. He does a big reshuffle, changes some titles, and again buys himself some time. Finally, another crisis comes. He opens envelope 3. It says, prepare 3 envelopes. The problem for Sir Starmer is that the MPs sharing the joke believe he has already opened his first 2. Well, technically, he has done those. It is becoming increasingly hard to find anybody in the Labour Party who will argue that things are going anything other than disastrously for the government. He'll mend them. They fear that attempts to deal with the multiple difficulties faced by the Prime Minister over the past year, many of them self-inflicted errors, such as the winter fuel duty decision, the freebies row, and the handling of welfare cuts, have instead unleashed more chaos. Funny that. The more recent example of this is the sacking of Peter Mandelson. When ministers warned that his scandal-ridden history indicated he was more of a risk than an asset. Even when the security services allegedly shared concerns. Starmer went ahead and appointed him. Again, he'll mend him. Would you look at that mug? Hi, Peter. Then, even though Mandelson had warned publicly that more embarrassing emails from him to convicted child sex offender Jeffrey Epstein were about to be published, Starmer defended him at PMQs. Yes, he did. I watched it. Ah, hubris. God, I fucking love it. With his political judgment repeatedly questioned, been questioned for a while now, by the way, not just since he's been Prime Minister, Labour people turn to his vision for Britain. The problem is they can't identify what the Prime Minister really believes in. Really? I hadn't noticed it. Allies say he doesn't like the B word. Okay? And has made no secret of being a distinctly non-ideological politician. That's bollocks. Instead, he believes the government should demonstrate change by making a material difference to people's lives. Oh, he is doing that. Through schools, the NHS, the immigration system, and the economy, even if that is in relatively slow, incremental steps. It's hopeless, one minister said. What one? Please, I need to know. Too many people feel the country is in decline. No shit. And the only route back is big, radical solutions. Hi, eco-socialist here. Maybe talk to me. I might be able to help you. We're doing lots of good stuff. Really? But it barely gets noticed. Again, please show me. It just doesn't hit the mark. Okay. The question being asked in tea rooms and bars and the corridors of Westminster is whether Starmer is up to the task of finding the solutions the country needs. He's not in charge. And increasingly, the conclusion reached among MPs is no. Tonight's poison of choice is incha cider. It is delicious. There are, of course, those in government and close to Starmer who urge calm. Okay. One Verton party figure said, please tell me what one. I don't know what they're all panicking about. Really? Here is sitting on a massive majority. That means fuck all. There's constituencies, if you hadn't noticed, and most of your majorities are dog shit. My MP included, who is Labour. Her majority is 6,500-ish, which is crud. And it's more than 3 years until the next election. No, it isn't. Keir Starmer can call a general election anytime he likes. Apparently. Oh dear God. They've got time to turn things around. Oh dear God. But the Dow has set in. Good. Not just that Starmer has shown a lack of political judgment, ideological vision, or especially when compared with the charisma of Mad Frog personality. He doesn't have one, as far as I can tell. Just my opinion, of course. But that he never had it in the first place. Just said it. No governing party as far back as the 1980s. I was born in 79, by the way, so in the last 46 years, essentially, has seen its polling fall so far in its first year of power. With the rise of reform, Labour MPs worry that time is running out. Really? Who'd have thunk it? The question of how. How? How what? How when? How why? Deep philosophical questions there. Can steer calm? Can Keir Starmer? I can't talk. Answer them. I'm doubtful. It is not unusual or surprising for MPs to grumble about their party leaders. Right. Nor to discuss how they might, theoretically, get rid of them and replace them with somebody else. You want ideas on that? Ask the Tories. I would say ask the Liberals, but all the original Liberals, they're all dead now. Because they went through this already over a century ago. God, our politics are fucking cooked. But this time, it appears to be more than just idle gossip. Really. The Guardian has spoken to MPs, ministers, including at cabinet level. Well done. Well, you are lobby journalists, after all. And party officials who claim that below the radar operations to oust the Prime Minister are already in place. Nice one. The conversation has moved on from if. Now it's about who. Ask Morgan McSweeney. And how. Again, ask Morgan McSweeney. Or Pat McFadden if you're feeling a bit fluty. One MP involved in plotting said the summer recess, when the government vacated the public arena, no, didn't, and allowed reform to shape the narrative, crystallised the need for change. Okay. Before then, there were quite a lot of people saying we've got to make it work. Good luck. We came back after the summer. The mood had significantly hardened. One MP said, please tell me, I need to know what MPs are saying this shit. I need to bring them onto my stream. Just to berate them, really. And say, why didn't you listen to us? People in their constituencies have been getting terrible feedback Really? Farage has been everywhere. Citation needed. The mood was, this has been a fucking disaster. This is from actual published media from The Guardian. Using expletives. Again, there's no such thing as bad language. There's bad grammar. I fucking like fuck. Fucking is a good word. So is fuck. So is cunt. So is scumbag. So is minge. I use them all. Mostly fucking, actually. And cunt. I will not say about who. Those petty little words are beneath me when in political discourse. Obviously. You can trust me. I'm a leftist. We've been given nothing to do. The country is literally going to shit. Do your job. God. The government is clearly. God almighty. We had tennis analogies from the one about Lucy Kyle and what she was saying. And now from Pippa Kara and Jessica Elgott, we're getting football punditry references. Don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. I love football and I love tennis, but it's weird seeing it in political discourse, especially in newspapers, when the debate of the actual country's at stake. Maybe raise your word usage or phraseology a little bit. Might be an idea. Would you look at that mug? Others have been reflecting on the timing, with the general view that next May's local elections and the Senate and Holyrood. 7th of May, everyone. Mark your calendars. I will be streaming. I'll probably try to kill myself streaming about the elections. I will try my best. I did manage to go for 9 hours in the general election last year, so I should be able to do that for the Holyrood in May. Watch this space. With Wales and dozens of councils in the north of England at risk of falling to Manfrog and his band of merry fucking lunatics, and Scotland staying in the hands of the SNP at a moment of particular peril for Starmer. Good. He needs skills. And Annas, we're coming for you. Politically, not literally. I'll just say, Annas Sauer, Scottish Labour leader, he's list. He doesn't have a constituency. The second in command, Jackie Bailey, she has a constituency. With a somewhat looking weak majority. So Annas and Jackie, watch out. SNP and Scottish Greens. I don't know how green or left-leaning Dumbarton is, really. We'll find out. But some don't believe Starmer can survive even that long. Until May? October, November, December, January, February, March, April. 8 months. The actual prorogation, the campaigning part will be, it'll start in late March. My birthday's early March, by the way, so I'll be gearing up after my birthday for the holiday elections. But some don't believe Starmer can survive that long. Fair enough. After Downing Street's leaden-footed response to the Mandelson row, they already knew. Forget about what they got told on Tuesday back. They already knew for years. And he still appointed him. Hell-maimed him. Seriously, Keir, you've shot yourself in both foots, both knees. So you're fucked, I believe. After Downing Street's leaden-footed response to the Mandelson row, furious MPs turned their ire on Morgan McSweeney. Good. The number 10 Chief of Staff, but for most, he is just a lightning rod for all their anger and disappointment. You what? Okay. I'm not even sure Starmer can survive until May. One Blair-era cabinet minister said, the mood is dire. Again, what minister? Right, Blair-era cabinet minister. Heidi? I'm trying to think of who else. She was in Blair's cabinet. Sometimes. Nope, 2015, 2010, 2010. The only one that's currently in cabinet that was in either a Blair or Brown cabinet is Heidi Alexander. Nope, nope, nope. Unless it's someone who was just a Blair cabinet minister who isn't in government. So that could be a few. Burnham included, actually. Who else? Pat McFadden wasn't in the cabinet, but hmm. The message from pretty much across the board was that one more major issue like the rain or Mandelson and the dam would burst. Give it time. But this Labour Party, so we shall see. So this is the Labour Party, so we shall see. Isn't Labour anymore. Trust me. Labour is not known for regicide. Nearly. Blair stepped down and Brown took over, so he said, I better fuck off, essentially. That's what I'm thinking. Not that he would answer in that way. Unlike the Conservatives, there is no 1922 to write to, nor a device that prompts a confidence vote. Oh God, I need someone who is Elron. I need you. Nor a device that prompts a confidence vote. The Labour Party, ironically, acts more like a gentleman's club. If a vote of confidence is called and carried, a leader might be expected to do the honourable thing and resign. But Jeremy Corbyn did not resign when 80% of his MPs did not back him. Am I going to have to show that Keen Skills video again to explain this bit? I think I might actually. It is a rather well done video because Keen Skills, he himself, is good. His videos are amazing. Go and follow Keen Skills. He's a comrade. He's Canadian, but he lives in Manchester. I really do need to meet him. Over the summer recess, some ambitious MPs who, from the new intake, that means from last year, met up away from Westminster to discuss the dire state of the polls. Well, you think you're going to fucking fix them? Good luck. Oh, God. Many of them have long careers close to or within Labour. Yeah, we know. I know well the particular difficulties of the party's leadership system when it comes to the prospect of removing an unpopular leader. Well, you managed to do it to Corbyn, didn't you? Yes. Funny how that works. You're the ones who wrecked the fucking party. We watched it unfold. So, I'll say again, I'll mind you, under the party rules, unless there is a vacancy, potential challengers need the support of at least 20 of the MPs. So that'd be, what's the majority? Give me a minute. How many Labour MPs? Oh, when they got elected last July, 411. They currently have 399. Yeah, that's right. The first 7. Then 4 more. Yeah. 2 of them were Scottish, by the way. So that basically, meaning there is a threshold of 80 to trigger. Starmer would automatically be on the ballot if he wished. Big question mark. Alternatively, if Starmer's personal approval rating doesn't improve, his Praetorian Guard. What did that make? God, my face hurts. Potentially including Morgan McSweeney, could advise him it was time to stand down for the sake of the country. Although they would also be putting themselves out of a job. The question of who? Nah, no me. I'm not part of member. I was. Not now. Scottish Green. Even for those MPs who feel they have answered the how part of the equation, there remains a great deal of uncertainty about the who. Who indeed? If we learn one thing from the Tories, apparently we haven't, it should be that you must have a plan before you act. Okay? I don't think there's a perfect candidate in the current cabinet. My God, you actually agree with me. Thank you. Said one MP. Again, who? With Angela Rayner forced to stand down from government and a future comeback looking uncertain. The bookies' favourite is, at least for now, firmly out of the picture. Still a class player, by the way. As the figure to whom the party would almost certainly have turned, her departure offers Starmer a lifeline. Really? I don't think it does, really. Other names on the soft left of the party that gets thrown into the mix include Ed Miliband, fair enough, who NPC has not ruled out a comeback after he stabbed his brother in the back. Or Laura Haig, the sacked Transport Secretary, known to be a formidable organiser. She was a shop steward. What do you expect? Christ. On the right of the party, some MPs remain loyal to Wes. Fuck off. He has 10 times the charisma. Oh god. He's a fucking snake. But I don't know what his path is without, without some kind of deal with the left to prevent a contest. He could have done with Angela, maybe. Yogurt. But I don't know what that really looks like now. I need more alcohol. Oh dear God. Allies claim that private polling of the membership is more encouraging for Wes than might be expected. Holy fuck. He is understood to have always been McSweeney's preferred choice of successor. No shit. And the two men are close. I thought Wes was married. But he almost lost his seat at the general election. 512 Rot! Imagine how powerful a voice Jan Mohammed would have been, and we wouldn't have had that grotty little bastard. Not being homophobic, please remember that. Do not think I'm saying that. I detest his politics. I don't like him as a politician. I don't want him in charge of the NHS. I know it's devolved. Don't shout at me about that. I want the same for everyone across the UK. I get good care up here. He is not doing that for down in England and Wales. Or England. I just want him to fuck off, essentially. Go and live another life. Choose another role. Unfortunately, he done PPE. Delightful. I would ban that as a university course, really. Or you can do it, or bar you from becoming an MP, or an MSP, or an MEP. Mm-mm-mm. No, I like to do PPE and go into government. If I could, I'd fucking outlaw it. Brilliant. I am part of the rainbow. Me be bisexual. West Streeting can fuck off. Exactly. Rejoice, comrades. John the Brazen is here. Hi, John. Oh, but he almost lost his seat at the general election over Gaza. It was more than just Gaza, by the way. Bridget Phillipson, the Education Secretary, hi John, who is running for the deputy leadership, and Shabana Mahmood, the impressive new Home Secretary. Impressive. Really, Pippa? I'm scared. Also have ambitions that could yet be thwarted by a left-leaning membership. Left-leaning membership? There might be a few still in the Labour Party who consider themselves somewhat left. But the out-and-out leftists, we've been booted. We've been shown there's the door. And guess what? We used it. Hell mind you. Neither has a leadership operation in place, although Phillipson will presumably build one for the deputy race, and some MPs are already acting as outriders for Mammoth. Delightful. I really don't want her as Prime Minister. The one name, however, that has attracted more and more warmth over recent months is that of Andy Burnham. Ooh. I wanted her to win. 512 votes. That was it. That is a fuck all majority. West Streeting, you're going to fucking go. The one name, however, that has attracted more and more warmth over recent months is that of Andy Burnham, the Mayor of Greater Manchester. MPs have shared data showing he is the only Labour politician with a net positive rating from the public, because he's actually doing shit in Manchester. Who does think it? A third of the UK sees him as favourably, which is the political equivalent of a rave review. Correct. Burnham also reaches across the party. He's a Blairite. The Guardian has spoken to individuals in both the centrist Labour Growth Group of MPs and the Socialist Campaign Group who have all come to the conclusion that he is the only option. John, how many is there in the Socialist grouping now in Westminster? I would just pick a number at the ether. I would say something like 20 something ish. He has backed Mainstream, a new network group, a new network set up to change Labour's direction. Good luck. And which will inevitably be seen as a vehicle that could be quickly transformed into a leadership operation if needed. Did he? Well, at least they're getting close to actually using transportation in Manchester. I'm jealous. The buses here in Glasgow suck. Thanks first. You're bastards. When asked by The Guardian last week, Burnham did not rule out the possibility of running in a future leadership contest with the network's support. You need to get into fucking Westminster first. I'm with Helen on this. You need to actually get back into that nest of villainy and corruption before you can actually challenge. Fuck it. Just over 20. I was thinking about that. I thought it was like 23 or 24 or something. I put people like Lavery, Prickett, Bell Ribeiro, Addy, Paula Barker, who were both running to be in the deputy leadership contest. Not entirely sure. Oh, Clive Lewis. Morgan. So it's a Prickett. No, Lavery. I've got 8. So another 12 or 14? Oh dear God. Why? Yeah, the foremost that I've got in that are basically Prickett, Lavery, Clive Lewis, and Bell Ribeiro Addy, and Bergen, so 5 of them. Possibly Paula Barker as well. Burnham is not an MP. Correct. He is not. And therefore is not eligible to run. But this is not an insurmountable problem. He needs to get into Westminster, which means he needs to stand in the constituency in either a by-election or a general election. Senior Labour Party figures Who again? Please, I need to know who these people are. Revealed that an existing Manchester MP who is in ill health is ready to stand down, causing a by-election. Who is this? I would say that like Clive Lewis and Trickett and Bergen are soft left. Bell, maybe slightly more left than those three gentlemen, and the same for Paula Barker. Emily's a Blairite, isn't she? I want to know who that Manchester MP is they're talking about. Excuse me. The party leadership is likely to do everything they can to block it. No shit. Hi, Andy. Hang on, I'll just leave that. That is a cracking photo of him. I'll be back momentarily. Outside again. Oh, thanks, John. Rejoice, Everton. Mm, see. One Burnham ally said, Andy is ready to come back, but it needs to be ASAP. Again, good luck. He needs to be in place before the May elections in order to be ready. He, he also needs to be upfront about why he wants to come back and challenge the leadership to defy the party's wishes. Okay? But even among those who think Stammer has to go, there is still uncertainty about the wisdom of such a move. Correct. There's also a calculation that needs to be made, one cabinet minister said. Again, please, tells who. We might get a boost if we put in place a different leader, and they quickly get a grip. Rejoice, comrades! Some random geek is lurking in the void. Watch out for the tardigrades, geek. As always, thank you for the lurk. We might get a boost if we put in place a different leader and they quickly get a grip. That might happen. Who knows? But there's a danger that we're basically saying to the country that we're the same as the Tories. Ow. Face hurts. Could doing better save Starmer at this point? Stranger things have happened in politics. Don't get me wrong. I am doubtful. Just my opinion. So what can Starmer do about it? Answers on a postcard. Just direct them to number 10 at this point. Might actually help them. His allies say he is deeply frustrated that, having spent the summer thinking about how to improve government delivery and reshape the narrative, please save my face. My jaw's hurt. Oh. His efforts have been so spectacularly undermined by all the noise and nonsense, really, of recent days. Oh, fuck. Have we passed peak centrist yet? Frankly, it has been derailed by a deputy prime minister who wasn't able to get her tax affairs in order or her stories straight. And the serial lies and deceit of Peter Mandelson. We already fucking told yous. Fired or left government twice before. He was already tainted at this point. He should never have been appointed as ambassador by Starmer. He's already knew the shit. God, make it make sense. A source close to Starmer said, you should have just shoved those emails down his throat. Again, I'm speaking rhetorically. He's already knew what he was like. So Hellmangers, no one is oblivious to the skill of the challenge or the need to be better. Really? Have you seen the past year? Oh, no political nuances left in this country, I believe. We're all fucked. Fuck it. Make me Prime Minister. I'm pretty sure I'd do a hell of a better. Leave democracy. We know it's difficult. We know it's a difficult time, and MPs are worried about their own majorities. They should be. The constituents come before party machinations. Well, it should anyway, in my opinion. We're more aware than anyone that things are very febrile. No shit. They insisted that Starmer, as a decent, sensible, pragmatic leader, was uniquely well placed to take on Manfrog's right-wing populists and their exploitation of grievance and narrative of failure. Oh God, my face is sore. But even before the May local elections, there are dangerous flashpoints for the Prime Minister. While rising public concern over small boat crossings and the potential for tax rises in the budget are always going to be difficult challenges, to get rid of the fiscal rules, that might help. With the existing mood of the party, either could now be just get it fucking over with then. And yet, even among the small handful of people who are actively plotting Starmer's downfall, again, tell me who these people are, Pippa. There is a fear that even a shiny new leader would be overcome by the deep systemic challenges facing the country. Really, hadn't noticed. And help usher in the age of Manfrog. Ugh. This government is adrift, bobbing like a tiny cork on waves it does not have the courage to battle. Odd analogy, said one government insider. Again, who are these fucking people? But even Thatcher and Blair would be struggling right now. The mix of global issues, economic disaster zone, public services crisis, and immigration is a truly horrendous cocktail. Economic disaster zone, there's ways they can fix that. Public service crisis, fund them better. Immigration, safe and legal routes. There, three things you can do. Get rid of the fiscal rules, fund NHS and other public services, nationalise a shit ton of the fucking things that a country actually needs to operate on safe and legal routes. There you go. Implement them. Oh, fuck's sake. Seriously, I've got two things going in my mind right now. Dig a trench by myself in the border, or me personally just storming number 10 and kicking Keir Starmer around saying, right, now, I'm in charge. Get your fucking selves in order. That might work. You never know. Do, 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 do. Do, 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 do. Yo, 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 yo. I'll put you at the top. Up, 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 up. Hi, shall we? This is Danny Phantom.
Are you up for a joyride later?
Where do you want to take me?
Guess.
So he was just a Nick Fuentes super fan? He was just a Nick Fuentes. Apparently, Charlie and Nick had internal fighting, like beef within themselves. So it was right on right, white on white crime. Go on. Avenge him. Go on.
Let's be clear. Donald Trump isn't just a problem for America, he's a problem for all of us. Trump is jet fueling the global attack on human rights, fueling genocide, and reshaping the world to serve unaccountable power, not people. His administration is pursuing policies of breathtaking cruelty. We've seen abortion access overturned, attacks on transgender communities, and chilling assaults on migrants and refugees involving mass forced repatriations and militarization of towns and cities. Not to mention arming and supporting Israel's genocide in Gaza. This is a warning to the world. Our hard-won rights can be lost overnight. Some may think this is purely a US problem, a cautionary tale from across the Atlantic. But here's the truth. The British government is staying silent. Worse, we're seeing echoes of these anti-rights policies taking root right here in the UK. We're witnessing mass crackdowns on protest, the scapegoating of migrants and refugees, and a failure to do all in our power to prevent and punish Israel's genocide in Gaza. While the UK government says it champions international law, the gap between rhetoric and reality is growing. We are not immune to these global authoritarian trends. We must resist. This isn't just America's crisis, it's a warning to the world. And it's already happening in the UK as well. So when Donald Trump lands in the UK, lands in London for his state visit, what will British leaders do? Roll out the red carpet or stand up for human rights? We cannot stay silent, and we cannot be complicit. We must ensure our message is heard loud and clear. No red carpet for hate.
Thank you, Mehdi.
Right, so for years, US sanctions were the stick America could always count on, weren't they? Cut off Iran from the dollars, choke its oil exports, and watch its economy wither. But after Israel's reckless strike on Iran's nuclear sites and Washington's ritual threats of snapback, Tehran's got sick of this now and has been looking at a way around it. Iranian President Masoud Pezeshkian hasn't pleaded for mercy, though. He's gone to the BRICS summit instead and proposed something to them to render those US sanctions absolutely toothless. Illegal, unilateral sanctions would no longer bite, he argued, if BRICS built the mechanisms to trade, lend and insure around them. In other words, the siege of sanctions would lose its bite. If his vision takes root, sanctions won't be instruments of power at all anymore, but relics of decline, blunted and bypassed, and another Western failure delivered by Iran's hands. Right, so a few days ago, Iranian President Masoud Pezeshkian spoke by video link to a virtual BRICS summit. His message to them was rather clear and confrontational, though. I don't know why the mainstream media hasn't covered this particularly well at all. It was rather interesting, in fact, because he said unilateral sanctions imposed by the United States and its allies were not only unjust but corrosive to the very idea of international cooperation, and BRICS must take action against this. BRICS can develop a joint mechanism to support its members in the face of illegal unilateral sanctions and to continue developing their economies without being subjected to unfair political pressure, he declared. It's not a plea for sympathy, but a demand for structural change. Pezeshkian proposed nothing less than a collective sanctions shield, a set of institutions, tools and principles that could blunt the economic chokehold of Western powers. And of course, all of this comes off the back of just months earlier, those Israeli jets, and indeed those of the United States itself, striking those Iranian nuclear sites. In the wake of those attacks, Western officials revived threats of renewed sanctions, including the dreaded snapback mechanism linked to the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action, the JCPOA. Iran once again faced the prospect of suffocation through financial warfare over its nuclear research program. Against this backdrop, Pezeshkian's proposal is both an act of defiance and a bid for economic survival. But it was also a statement of intent. Iran would not endure sanctions passively anymore, but would now seek to delegitimize them, build alternatives, and transform its pain into leadership within the global South nations. Iran has lived under the shadow of sanctions for over 4 decades now, from the time of the 1979 coup to the present, because the West lost control of Iran, didn't it? The Shah was their patsy leader. American governments have wielded economic restrictions as their weapon of choice ever since. Over time, these sanctions have metastasized into an all-encompassing regime targeting banking and oil and
Fun point, the Shah, who we, the British government and the American government, installed the Shah, got rid of Mossadegh, 1953. The Shah's son lives here in the UK. He still lives. He's here, living in London, I believe, or maybe in Kent. But he's here. He lives here in the UK. After the Iranian Revolution, they fled. And the son, they came here and he's just ended up just living here. And he's seen as some sort of leader or leader in waiting, essentially, living here, living out his life. Here in the UK. Delightful. After we could a democratically elected leader because we didn't like him, because he was going to nationalise their energy system, their energy production for Iran. And we could him. Because of the Anglo-Iranian oil company, basically the British run fossil fuel company in Iran. And when he was going to say, right, we'll nationalise it for the betterment of the Iranian people, we thought, fuck, our money. And the Americans helped him to install the Shah, who was basically a puppet and a dictator, obviously. Nothing but the best from the enlightened West.
insurance and investment. And the goal, all dressed up in the language of non-proliferation and human rights, was always the same, though, to weaken Iran's economy to the point of political submission. Yet the effect was collective punishment. Essential medicines became scarce, inflation reached punishing levels, and ordinary Iranians saw their livelihoods evaporate. It's why Iran has had to become so
Correct.
self-sufficient over the course of those 4 decades, and quite successfully so in many cases. Its nuclear research, for one, eliciting major breakthroughs in nuclear medicine, new treatments for cancer, for example. This is functionally the sort of thing Israel and the US bombed back in June. The JCPOA of 2015 offered a brief respite, though. In return for curbs on uranium enrichment and all of those unprecedented inspections by the IAEA, Iran was promised reintegration into the global economy, but the deal was sabotaged. In 2018, the Trump administration unilaterally withdrew and reinstated the sanctions. The snapback mechanism written into Resolution 2231 of the UN Security Council became a permanent threat once again, invoked by Western diplomats whenever Iran sought to assert its rights. Even European attempts to preserve the deal collapsed under American pressure. Instex, the mechanism designed by Europe to enable humanitarian trade with Iran, proved to just be another hollow shell as another example, processing almost no transactions at all. Iran was left isolated once more.
You have to remember, our foreign policy comes from the White House or the Capitol Hill. We might have a nominal foreign policy, literally just nominal. It's delightful. We don't even have control of our own foreign policy. I hate my government. There's a better way of doing things. We've been saying this for decades now. Have we been listened to? Not really. And definitely not now. Where we are literally fueling the planes that are bombing a so-called ally. The planes that were bombing Doha earlier on this week, RAF planes and personnel on those planes were refueling those Israeli bombers, those Israeli planes to bomb Doha. There's always a British presence there, usually ship-based, in the Gulf of Yemen, what used to be called Aden, that we controlled, oddly enough. Funny that, imperialism and colonialism. There's always a British presence nearby Qatar. There's probably British personnel based in Qatar as well. Diplomats, people of that nature. Nominally British citizens, probably with British passports, so British citizens based there in Qatar. They might have died in the bombing. Who knows? And we were refueling those planes while they were doing those bombings. Delightful. Again, I hate my fucking government.
Compliance meaningless in the face of Trump's intransigence. Then came the events of June 2025, of course. Israel's unprovoked strike on Iranian nuclear facilities, conducted with US support, escalated tensions to breaking point once more. Western officials immediately paired the attack with threats of renewed sanctions. The message was unmistakable because we've heard it over and over and over for 4 decades now. Iran would be attacked militarily and strangled economically, and international law would offer them no protection. For Pezeshkian, this was the final proof that sanctions were not diplomatic instruments, but weapons of war. His September proposal to BRICS, therefore, needs to be read in that context. An Iran battered but unbowed, seeking not pity, but allies in dismantling a system that has held it hostage for decades. Until recently, Iran survived sanctions through improvisation. Oil was shipped clandestinely, still is really. Payments routed through complex networks of shell companies and barter arrangements struck with sympathetic states. These measures provided them with breathing room, but they were always fragile, costly, not to mention humiliating. Pezeshkian's approach marks a departure from that now. He is no longer content with survival in the shadows. Instead, he is seeking an institutional resistance, a framework that would allow Iran and other sanctioned states actually to trade, invest and develop openly without the constant fear of financial strangulation, because this new system would nullify it. In his summit remarks, Pezeshkian placed sanctions within a wider moral and political framework. Unilateral measures, the instrumental use of sanctions and economic restrictions are among the biggest threats to global justice and stability. These policies are not only jeopardize the national interests of independent countries, but also disrupt international cooperation and hinder sustainable development. This was more than rhetoric. By casting sanctions as a global threat, Pezeshkian sought to transform Iran's suffering into a universal cause. He also tied the issue to institutional reform. He insisted that rebuilding the current world order requires serious reforms in global governance, from revising the composition and functions of the UN Security Council to restructuring the international financial and monetary system. In other words, sanctions resistance was not just about protecting Iran. It was part of a project to democratize global governance, reduce Western dominance, and strengthen the sovereignty of global South nations, leveling the playing field, somewhat, you might say. In other words, what happens to Iran today could happen to any independent country tomorrow, and only collective resistance can provide safety from it. So this move from defensive endurance to offensive or offensive institution building is quite strategic. It allows Iran to portray itself as a leader now, not a victim. It also turns the tables. Rather than constantly pleading for sanctions relief, Iran demands structural change instead. The effect is to challenge the legitimacy of sanctions at their root. If Pezeshkian succeeds, sanctions will no longer appear as neutral instruments of international order, but as relics of coercion destined to collapse, as weapons to be blunted. The credibility of Iran's proposal does depend on the response of other BRICS nations, of course. So what have they said about this idea then, Damo? Well, here the picture is both encouraging and complicated. Brazil's President Lula da Silva used the same summit to denounce what he called tariff blackmail. For Lula, BRICS is a platform to defend national sovereignty against economic coercion. Brazil will support trade facilitation, local currency transactions and intra-BRICS cooperation. Yet as a country tied deeply to Western markets as Brazil is, it will want to avoid open confrontation. Brazil will push for resilience framed in the language of fair trade rather than sanctions evasion. China is, of course, the economic powerhouse of BRICS. It's built the most advanced alternative to the Western financial systems there are. Its cross-border interbank payment system, SIPS, offers a substitute for the Western-used SWIFT, and it has expanded bilateral currency swaps. Beijing shares Iran's interest in weakening the dollar's chokehold too, but it also has trillions of dollars in assets exposed to Western markets. China will therefore want to pursue technical steps that erode dollar dominance quietly and gently, without framing them as a sanctions shield either. India is even more reluctant. Its chief economic advisor said bluntly that India is not pursuing an alternative to the dollar. New Delhi relies heavily on Western trade and investment. It will resist any initiative that threatens those ties. And while India may engage in rupee-based trade and regional cooperation, it will not join a frontal challenge to the US financial order. Russia, by contrast, is enthusiastic about this idea. Well, I can't imagine why Putin would be so keen on it, can you? Having endured sweeping sanctions themselves since 2014, Moscow has the most to gain from a sanctions shield. It has created its own payment system as well, SPFS, and pushed for BRICS to build insurance pools and logistics networks. For Russia, Iran's proposal is a natural extension of its own survival strategy. It will press hard for implementation. South Africa provides moral support here too. President Cyril Ramaphosa has consistently spoken out against unilateral sanctions, yet his country's economic exposure makes radical action unlikely. South Africa will add legitimacy to the cause, but not risk its own financial stability in this process. Thus, BRICS is united in principle, but divided in practice, as they seem to be on most things quite fundamentally. All members oppose unilateral sanctions rhetorically, but their willingness to confront the West varies dramatically based on their own individual interests. The likely outcome is incremental measures that erode the sanctions regime gradually, rather than a dramatic unveiling of a sanctions shield, but that would still be progress, wouldn't it? This divergence is both a weakness and a strength. It slows the progress down, although it's still being made, but it also ensures that BRICS remains broad enough to carry some political weight. So what might a BRICS sanctions shield even look like in practice then? Well, the first and most obvious component is alternative payment systems, isn't it? By linking China's SIPS with Russia's SPFS and expanding their use across BRICS as a whole, The bloc could create a parallel system outside Western control. Bilateral currency swaps and local currency settlement could further reduce dependence on the dollar. Already trade between Russia and China is overwhelmingly denominated in yuan and rubles. If extended to Brazil, India, and South Africa, this would create momentum towards de-dollarization, regardless of those pro-Western economic ties. The second mechanism is local currency lending. The new development bank has begun issuing bonds in member currencies. If expanded, this could provide financing for projects in sanctioned states without exposure to dollar markets at all. Guarantee funds could reduce the risk for firms trading with sanctioned countries. An NDB insurance pool could provide shipping coverage for vessels carrying Iranian oil, something currently blocked by Western insurers. Thirdly, BRICS could develop its own logistics networks. Ports and shipping routes and overland corridors could be organized to minimize reliance on Western-controlled choke points. Russia has already pushed for such initiatives, seeing them as essential to survival under sanctions. Fourth, BRICS could create a legal and diplomatic front. Shared compliance toolkits, coordinated challenges in international fora, and common doctrines delegitimizing unilateral sanctions could raise the political and reputational costs of such measures. If BRICS articulates a doctrine that unilateral sanctions are violations of international law, it would mark a turning point in global norms. Each mechanism requires investment, trust, and political will, but none, in and of themselves, are impossible to achieve. The question is not technical feasibility here, but political courage. The obstacles are nonetheless formidable to this. The greatest risk is secondary sanctions, of course, even more of them. BRICS members that maintain deep ties with the US and Europe will fear retaliation if they openly assist sanctioned states. This fear explains India's reluctance and Brazil's caution. Another risk is financial exposure. The NDB depends on international capital markets. If seen as a sanctions evasion vehicle, its borrowing costs could rise. China, too, cannot risk all of its assets. International divergence is another limit. BRICS is not a bloc like NATO or the EU. It is a loose grouping of assorted states. Coordinating them is always going to be difficult. Trust deficits, particularly between the likes of India and China, complicate matters here. It's often very easy to see BRICS as an aligned group of countries setting about a challenge to the West. They've certainly been framed as that a lot in the past, but it's not nearly that straightforward. There are technical limits as well. Local currencies are volatile. Payment systems require interoperability. Insurance pools require credibility. Logistics.
From what I can understand from what I've got from Richard Murphy, Richard Woolf on Learning Economics, and Helena, and Macro. I watched them a couple of weeks ago. From what I get, because we're so dollarized and the petrodollar still exists, and obviously the dollar's the reserve currency, we're all basically cooked to the Americans and the American economy at this point. Oh, God. I hate having to say this. I've been thinking it for the last sort of 4 or 5 years now at this point. But literally just sever the ties, just literally just cut them like the Gordian knot. Just be completely Alexander about it and just fucking slice right through it. Just get fucking rid of it. I don't care what happens to the global economy after it. But it can't be as bad as it is right now for a lot of fucking people, millions of us across the globe. At this point, the global economy is already fucked. It's just going to get worse from here on out, so just fucking sever the tag right now, just cut it all. America's going to become more insular. Mark my words on this before I fucking croak it. They will become more insular, or they'll go the other way, and at that point, it is basically either revolution or fucking barbarism. We're already on barbarism to a certain extent for certain populations across the globe. So at this point, fuck it. Cut it all. It's just going to get worse, in my opinion, please. I know this is, I know I titled it as the anti-doomerism stream, but at certain points I do literally get so fucking fed up and completely doomer pilled for certain points during the day and across a certain time span. I managed to pull myself out of it for this stream, for all of you lovely people who actually fund this. Thank you for listening to me. It is really cathartic for me at times and transformative for my own mental health. Thank you so much. But for fuck's sake, we need to start fucking fixing fundamental problems in a lot of the West. Funny that. Problems that have been ignored for fucking decades, for most of my fucking life, and for most of Super Hubby's life. I'm symbolically pointing to where he sits. He's currently in bed. I am 46. Super Hubby is older than me by a good few years. This needs fucking dealt with in each of our countries. There's too much going on.
Networks require infrastructure, and these take years to build. And finally, there's the danger of symbolism without substance. If BRICS proclaims a sanctions shield but delivers little in the way of that, the credibility of resistance suffers. Populations hoping for relief may end up being demoralized. Western states may gloat that alternatives are hollow. To succeed, BRICS will have to deliver tangible results here. So for Pezeshkian, the domestic stakes are high. Iranians have endured decades of economic siege, inflation, shortages, and declining living standards have created widespread frustration. By proposing a BRICS mechanism, Pezeshkian offers them hope. Iran is not isolated, but leading global reform on this. This strengthens his legitimacy, and it projects confidence. The moral claim is equally significant. By framing sanctions as among the biggest threats to global justice and stability, Pezeshkian positions Iran as a moral actor here. He insists that sanctions destroy sustainable development, disrupt cooperation, and undermine sovereignty, which, when unjustly implemented, for example, because Israel cried like a baby, they do. This resonates across the global south, where many states fear similar treatment. It reframes sanctions not as law, but as coercion, not as enforcement, but as collective punishment. This moral discourse is a powerful weapon in delegitimizing the sanctions regime. The legal case against unilateral sanctions is contested, but it is strong. Under the UN Charter, only the Security Council can impose sanctions binding on all states. Unilateral sanctions lack that legitimacy. Secondary sanctions which punish third parties involve extraterritorial application of national law, which is a violation of sovereignty. UN human rights experts have described unilateral coercive measures as violations of human rights as well. The International Court of Justice has not yet ruled on this definitively, but the tide is shifting on it. By institutionalizing resistance, BRICS could articulate a new doctrine delegitimizing unilateral sanctions as unlawful. This would not abolish them overnight, but it would create a prescriptive shift that erodes their legitimacy, such as it is. History provides both warnings and inspiration here. The non-aligned movement sought to resist bloc domination, but lacked economic tools to do so. Its influence was moral, but it was limited. Europe's Instex mechanism showed the limits of half-hearted alternatives. Without capital, scale, and political will, such projects collapse. Yet China's creation of CIPS shows alternatives are possible. Russia's survival under sanctions shows adaptation is possible. Digital currencies and blockchain potentially offer new avenues. The lesson is that resistance requires infrastructure, capital, and political will. Without them, rhetoric will always collapse. But with them, sanctions may be what actually ends up crumbling. If BRICS delivers even partially on Pezeshkian's call, the consequences will still be profound. Sanctions will lose their aura of inevitability. They will be seen as weapons that generate their own antidote, in a sense. Each new sanction will create more demand for alternatives. This is the paradox. The more Washington relies on sanctions, the faster its financial dominance will end up eroding. The implications for nuclear diplomacy are direct. A sanctions shield would give Iran leverage. Western threats would ring hollow. Negotiations would have to be genuine. The balance of power would shift. Other sanctioned states, such as Venezuela, could take note of all of this. The global south would see BRICS as a refuge. The implications for global order are even larger. A multipolar financial system would emerge. The dollar would remain powerful, but it would no longer be uncontested. It would lose its monopoly. The legitimacy of unilateral sanctions would collapse. The narrative would shift. Sanctions are not law. They are siege, not justice, but coercion. And as they lose legitimacy, their usage will inevitably weaken. Masoud Pezeshkian's 8th of September speech may be remembered as the moment sanctions began to implode, in fact. BRICS can develop a joint mechanism to support its members in the face of illegal, unilateral sanctions, he declared. With those words, Iran transformed its suffering into a demand for structural change. Whether BRICS delivers remains uncertain. Divergences are real, obstacles are immense. But the trajectory is unmistakable. Sanctions were meant to strangle Iran. Instead, they may strangle the system that wields them. And of course, all of this has come in the weeks following attempts by the West to try and surround Iran and claim they've been isolated too. They've literally just addressed the whole of BRICS. On what planet does the orange oaf passing himself off as US president think he's on here? Well, it was Pezeshkian again who was instrumental in blowing up that notion too. So get all the details of that story in this video recommendation here as your suggested next watch. Please do also hit like, share and subscribe if you haven't done so already, so as to ensure you don't miss out on all new daily content, as well as spreading the word and helping to support the channel at the same time, which is very much appreciated. Holding power to account for ordinary working class people, and I'll hopefully catch you on the next vid. Cheers, folks.
Okay, my comrades, are we up for some gamba? If you've got enough channel points, you don't need to put much in. Obviously, just calling out people for being classist bastards is always a good thing, in my eyes. And it might be funny. As I said in my chat, Sagon's the go-to for me because he is a classist piece of shit. Not only that, and he thinks he's on the left. Beg to differ. I will wait. Oh, I can get rid of that one now. Ugh. Your lass isn't built for the cold, by the way. You might notice a slight change in you the closer we get to the end of the year. You might see me get nearly transparent or quite possibly blue tinged. My circulatory system is actually functioning. My blood kind of isn't. It's kind of sluggish. Far too fucking thick. And it doesn't help when my hands go like this. Hence, cardies. With pockets, hopefully. Oh! Merch. Merch from Demo. Really warm. Really cozy. Plus, it says mauve on the label. I am calling it pink. Feel free to buy merch from Demo. They really are well made. Plus, this is quite good. This has went through countless washes now. I've had it for 4 months. I love it. Thank you, Damo. Hmm. Anyone?
I'm at the King Alfred School of Classical Education.
No need to participate, of course. Entirely up to yourself. Okay.
As I covered in a recent video about Israel's depiction in movies, Hollywood has long played a role in bolstering the country's image. Then I looked at how films portrayed Israel, Muslims, and terrorism. Now I want to shift focus, how Israeli weapons themselves have featured in American movies. This video will focus more specifically on Israeli small arms. They've appeared countless times, with several models becoming legendary in their own right, even more famous through video games and TV shows. On screen, these weapons have helped cement Israel's reputation as both a fearsome adversary and a crucial U.S. ally. Of course, the choice to showcase Israeli-made guns is not about their real-world practicality. It's a creative decision, and one that has left a deep cultural imprint. To American audiences, these brands evoke images of both heroes and gangsters. They make Israeli weapons desirable while massively overstating the country's role in global security. Once again, Hollywood has shaped Israel's image in ways that have reached countless millions of people worldwide. The best place to start is with the obvious choice, the Uzi submachine gun. For a time, it was everywhere in action films, long after the Israeli military itself had moved on from the weapon. Hey everybody, due to the content of my videos, I'm not advertiser friendly, so if you want to support my work, consider becoming a patron for access to exclusive content and the GDF Discord server. I also accept donations. Thank you so much to everyone who has become a patron and donated. Love you all, thank you. The Uzi was one of several weapons produced by Israel Military Industries, which until 2005 was a state-owned company run directly by the Defense Ministry. And according to the Internet Movie Firearms Database, which catalogs gun appearances in film and TV, the Uzi's first on-screen appearance came in NBC's 1976 TV movie Raid on Entebbe.
Stay on the floor, everybody! It'll be all right.
The Israeli commandos wield the weapon, including cast members Charles Bronson and James Woods. There are literally hundreds of examples, but we'll look at the more impactful and iconic movies, which would have been seen by countless millions. In 1983, Al Pacino as Tony Montana grips an Uzi in Scarface.
They're all over the place. Get out of here!
Another leading star, Arnold Schwarzenegger, fires an Uzi at his foes in The Terminator the following year. Schwarzenegger is again armed with the Israeli weapon in Commando, released in 1985. Interestingly, this movie was produced by Joel Silver, who produced a movie I spoke about in my last video about Israel and movies, called Executive Decision. Another film I talked about at length, The Delta Force, released in 1986, was directed and produced by two Israelis and made special mention of Israel being America's best friend in the Middle East. The film's lead Chuck Norris uses the Israeli submachine gun as well. This movie thrilled the Israeli military, according to IDF and Israeli state archives. In 1987, the Uzi appears in two hits, RoboCop and Lethal Weapon. The latter film's lead, Mel Gibson, carries an Uzi in Air America, released in 1990.
Is that an Uzi?
Hey, you know, that would make a great TV commercial, wouldn't it?
Excuse me, is that an Uzi? Why, yes, it is.
I can't believe this guy.
Self-defense is no laughing matter.
It says no warrant.
That's why when it comes to number one, I pack an Uzi.
In 1988, slapstick comedy The Naked Gun begins with a scene where the protagonist, played by Leslie Nielsen, clobbers Gorbachev, Castro, Gaddafi, Idi Amin, and Yasser Arafat. The film also features the Uzi submachine gun.
I love you, Jane.
Frank.
So does The Punisher in 1989. By 1990, Arnold Schwarzenegger, the biggest name in Hollywood action hits, had wielded an Uzi at least 3 times, now in Total Recall.
Honey, you wouldn't hurt me, would you, sweetheart? Sweetheart, be reasonable. After all, we're married.
Consider that a divorce.
Tremors, starring Kevin Bacon, features the micro Uzi. Michael Douglas, son of ardent pro-Israel actor Kirk Douglas, famously holds an Uzi in Falling Down.
No, fucking do it, man. Oh, man. Fuck you, mother.
There. See?
In 1994, the gun is featured in Leon the Professional, and Clear and Present Danger. In The Usual Suspects, the film's lead, Kevin Spacey, is armed with an Uzi for a role that earned him an Oscar. Nicolas Cage sports an Uzi in Face Off with John Travolta.
Oh, God. By the way, for all my sins of being on this planet, I've seen all of these films so far, so just fucking end me. Delightful. You know. I like films. Is that I got it? I don't know. I like these films. I do like escapism, after all. Me being left a small.
In The Matrix, perhaps one of the most famous and influential action sci-fi thrillers of all time, both Trinity and Neo are strapped with micro Uzis. Neo, in fact, has 2 of them in an ultra-famous shootout sequence. The Fast and the Furious shows micro Uzis with suppressors, The Matrix Reloaded features the gun. Of course, Israeli commandos hold Uzis in Munich, directed by Steven Spielberg. There's also Bad Boys 2, Austin Powers and Goldmember, The Punisher,
That version.
Lord of War,
I sold Israeli-made Uzis to Muslims.
and Sin City. Indeed, Hollywood makes heavy use of the micro Uzi in particular in the 2000s. There's Uzis in Batman Begins, Resident Evil Extinction, Lucky Number 11, Taken, Taken 2. Wanted. The Dark Knight Rises. The Hangover Part 2.
Wow, that's so real. Sorry.
Mad Max Fury Road. Nobody. The Batman.
You think you could come out?
And finally, Deadpool and Wolverine.
Uzi time, baby.
The Uzi began to be phased out of frontline Israeli military service in the early 1970s with the arrival of the Galil and M16. Worldwide sales stagnated in the 1970s as police and military units increasingly favored carbines and newer submachine guns such as Heckler & Koch's MP5. In the modern age, the 9mm round of the Uzi cannot penetrate body armor like the tiny, high-velocity rounds of the likes of the MP7, which was adopted by security forces such as Germany's Bundeswehr, the U.S. Secret Service, and Ireland's Armed Gardaí units, replacing their aging Uzis. Next, we have the Desert Eagle, which, unlike the Uzi, is widely considered to be totally impractical, as it's unused by any law enforcement agency anywhere in the world. In 1999, the Baltimore Sun posited, if there is a current success story on par with the Dirty Harry Model 29, it's the Desert Eagle. They interviewed Rick Washburn, owner of Weapon Specialists Limited, one of Hollywood's largest prop houses for weapons. Here's a gun that has very little practical usage, says Washburn. It's too big and heavy. There's not much of a market for handgun hunting, so I would say the success of that particular weapon owes almost everything to the movies. While the handgun was designed by the now defunct Minnesota-based Magnum Research Inc., it was manufactured by Israel Military Industries. The gun is indeed big and heavy. It's chambered from between .357 all the way to .50 caliber Action Express, a half-inch diameter round. It made its debut in year.
I was waiting for this bit. I haven't seen this yet. This is the first watching for me as well, by the way. Hello. Hi. I know soldiers. I know former soldiers. I know current soldiers. Hello. Some of whom who have actually wielded in forward combat. They paid for this by themselves, by the way. The British military do not pay for the Desert Eagle, the full 50 caliber one. No. I know soldiers who have actually used this. The recoil on the Desert Eagle, the 50 caliber version of it, can actually break people's wrists, and it has done on multiple occasions. It is severely impractical for forward combat maneuvers. For said reason, you need to be built like a brick shithouse, essentially, especially in your your arm, up until your elbow and up to your shoulder, because the recoil is that fucking bad. It is far too heavy. The actual bullets themselves are an absolute pain to get into the magazine, and firing distance, fair enough, but no, severely impractical, not worth buying. And at the cheapest that I have heard of from actual soldiers who have used it or practiced with it, not in forward combat, just in actual firing ranges, Severely impractical. Why would you do that to yourself? And I'll say again, the recoil is fucking mental. Anyone who actually uses it is just being a poser bastard because they've spent £5,500 on the 50 cal. Why? You can get a fairly good, either Webley or an H&K or Smith & Wesson for like a third of the price. Why spend 5.5 fucking grand to get your wrist broken and fractured in so many fucking different ways? Plus, the recoil has actually damaged people's actual arm and elbow because of the recoil. Delightful. Just no. Why? Why would anyone buy it, let alone manufacture it? Carry on, GDF.
of the Dragon in 1985, where it was seen held by the film's lead Mickey Rourke. On top of the Uzi, RoboCop also features multiple Desert Eagles, as does RoboCop 2 and 3.
Okay, Funzo.
Tremors is another film featuring multiple Israeli weapons, as it features the Desert Eagle and the Micro Uzi. A drug dealer is armed with the Desert Eagle in Point Break.
I'm coming up right now! Back up! Back up!
Hollywood action superstar Arnold Schwarzenegger is armed with the Desert Eagle in A Last Action Hero. Tom Sizemore holds a chrome Desert Eagle in Natural Born Killers. The first Bad Boys features the weapon.
Freeze, mother bitches!
Don't you move.
Austin Powers' International Man of Mystery shows the gun.
Let's lock and load.
Right, lads. All right.
Method Man holds 2 Desert Eagles in Belly. The Boondock Saints shows the gun. The gun is very prominently featured in The Matrix. Legend has it that the Wachowskis, who directed the film, included the guns against the advice of the film's armorer, John Bowring, who called them wanker pistols. The film Snatch is practically an over-the-top advertisement for the gun.
The fact that I've got Desert Eagle .50 written on the side of mine. Should precipitate your balls into shrinking along with your presence.
The gold-plated pistol held by Goldmember in the film Austin Powers and Goldmember is a Desert Eagle.
Bad news bears!
Walter Matthau.
Up yours, jab, turkey.
Resident Evil Apocalypse shows multiple Desert Eagles.
Motherfucker, please, look. My shit is custom.
Dwayne Johnson carries it in Doom.
Because Carmack's condition is that he's dead.
The weapon further showcases its sci-fi appeal in Alien vs. Predator. The titular character in Borat sports a Desert Eagle.
Wow, wow, wow. It's like I movie star at Dirty Harold.
Yes.
There's also Lucky Number 11 again. At least 3 characters are armed with the gun in Terminator Salvation.
Can rewrite the future in a heartbeat. Are we on the same page?
Yeah.
Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson rocks a Desert Eagle and gets smart.
Don't move. It was a coded message.
Max, we're running out of time here. What are you talking about?
Thank you, Chief.
And there's 21 Jump Street,
Oh, hey, wait! No!
The Purge, Bad Boys for Life,
Renegotiating. Whoops.
and Deadpool.
I'm touching myself tonight.
Tom Sizemore holds another Israeli weapon in Heat, produced by former Israeli spy Arnon Milchan. This time it's a Galil rifle. Resident Evil Apocalypse features the rifle.
Don't shoot, don't shoot. He's cool. He made a deal with Dr. Doom, same as you.
And the 2014 version of RoboCop also features the rifle. There's also The Town, Bad Boys, Taken 2, but more than films, the Galil is seen in numberless video games. To this day, I encounter people that don't know that this rifle was produced by Israel Military Industries. A couple films appear again and again as showing multiple varieties of Israeli small arms, including the Resident Evil series, which also features the Israeli Tavor rifle, as does the 2014 version of RoboCop.
You have to wake up! Alex, can you hear me? These men are here to kill us! They're here to kill us, for Christ's sakes!
There's also Max Payne. An Israeli soldier is armed with a Tavor in World War Z, which features a lengthy Israel-based plotline. In the film, Israel is the only country that has staved off a zombie invasion owing to the ingenuity of Israeli intelligence and the Israeli apartheid wall. The film is the highest-grossing zombie movie of all time. Michael Pena has a Tavor in Ant-Man.
That's what I'm talking about. That's what I call an unfortunate casualty.
It's shown again in Ant-Man and the Wasp. Another special mention goes to the corner shot accessory, essentially a device with a stock pistol grip and monitor showing video feed from the attachment at its end. The attachment holds a firearm such as a pistol and a camera. This front assembly can be moved side to side around corners, as demonstrated by Angelina Jolie in Wanted, a film with a strikingly similar plotline to The Matrix. The device is also seen in red, the third Expendables movie, and Gemini Man starring Will Smith. It's also, like all the other weapons I've mentioned, featured in even more television shows, which for time's sake I didn't even get into. The corner shot was created by an Israeli lieutenant colonel. It made press when it first debuted, but has since been largely forgotten. Hey everybody, thanks so much for watching, and if you liked this video, be sure to subscribe for more content. Also, if you want to chat or talk about video ideas, become a patron to join the GDF Discord server.
Something weird is happening with the Saltire right now. What do you think of when you see our national flag? Is it a sense of pride, plucky Scots punching above their weight? Is it about supporting independence? Or is it about something else? Something angrier, something intimidating even? Or is it about some communities feeling unheard? You see, the Saltire has started appearing in places you might not expect to see it, on lampposts, lining streets, in front windows. And it's all getting tied up in this gnarly, febrile debate we're having right here and everywhere else, it seems, about immigration. So what is in a flag?
I will pause. Hello, hello, hi, hi, Scottish woman. Hello. I love my flag. I love the Saltire. And its simplicity. Would you look at it down here? Look at the beautiful flag. I do love the Saltire. And its simplicity and my connection to my homeland. I'm not entirely sure how to take seeing it actually on the lampposts over there on street, just outside my flat. I love seeing it, don't get me wrong. I'm not entirely sure why it is now all across Glasgow and lots of different disparate locations. It's rather odd, really. We don't usually go in for these kind of things. Who knows why they're appearing everywhere? I will say again, I do like seeing it. I love my flag. I make no bones about it. That is why I'm Mad Cat 79 Scotty Eye. They were an Irish tribe who moved over here to Scotland many centuries ago. I am Scottish through and through. Always have been, always will be. I am curious though, don't get me wrong. I do have a Saltire. It is made of paper. It is on a simple cardboard mast thing. It is sitting in my bedroom, in my window, on a little tripod I made out of blue tack. Super Herbie is cool with it. He likes the Saltire as well. I have asked my family members if they have seen them in their locations. My uncle has. He lives in Aberdeen. I've asked my mum. She has seen a few up in Perth. I have asked friends across Scotland if they have seen them as well, appearing in disparate locations. They have. Mostly. I am curious.
Davey, this has been something that's sort of been rumbling away and in our consciousness for a while, but I would say two things happened recently that made us really focus on it. One was actually an email from a Scotcast listener. Let me just find it. It's from Fiona, and she says, I live in Aberdeenshire, and on a recent visit into Aberdeen, I was surprised to see both Saltires and Lion Rampant flags have been erected from lampposts on the road where asylum seekers.
I will show that one. Technically, they're not allowed to show it, because we don't have the ownership of that flag? There it be. This is the line rampant. Technically, that flag, that banner, belongs to King Charles. That is his banner. That is his authority here in Scotland. We are not allowed to fly it because it belongs to him, apparently. I say, no, it isn't, mate. It's older than your fucking monarchy. So get wrecked. But because you can be fined and imprisoned for flying this without his permission, as well as this one. That is also his flag. If that is just a brooch, maybe, but actual flags, no. We don't have ownership. Well, technically, that's not my. This one isn't my flag. That is my flag as well as this one here on the left.
Are housed. I'd never seen this before and wondered if it was happening in other towns and cities across Scotland. Thanks, Fiona, for getting in touch. And obviously, if you all want to get in touch. So that was the first thing. Number two, I suppose, is it all kind of happens when you went out to try and buy a car.
Yeah, I went to.
I will take them off. I will be back momentarily. Hello. Hello, I'll be back.
Garage in the East End of Glasgow. Didn't buy the car, but
Sorry.
No, it's okay. Ongoing saga. But anyway, as I was driving out there was a street that was kind of endless saltires on the lampposts in Tollcross, and I'd kind of heard this stuff about saltires going up and this being a bit of a mess.
Tollcross is in the East End of Glasgow, so down that way from me here. I am in the north of the city. Tollcross is down there. About 3-ish miles away from me. Or if I were to put it in public transportation, 2 buses, because first Glasgow sucks.
Message about immigration, about asylum seekers and where they're housed, and you know, I consume a lot of news. I knew this had been a bit of an ongoing debate in England, but I suppose it struck me as very interesting, one, that it seemed like locals were trying to make some sort of point, or at least some locals, and also we've always, I suppose, associated the saltire with, or I have quite often, with Scottish politics, very commonly Scottish independence. If someone was flying a saltire from their home 6 months ago, I would have assumed it was a message about that. That maybe feels like it's a bit changing at the moment, and I'm sure we'll talk about this later on. But it almost felt like there's a bit of a battle for what exactly the saltire means at the moment going on.
It is just quite something to see a street full of saltires, I suppose. And as you say, perhaps people's sort of connotations around that are slightly different. I mean, after that, you thought, right, I'm going to get out there today.
Yeah, so I went back to that same street this afternoon, knowing that we were going to talk about this on the podcast, and I felt like I wanted to try and speak to some local people and find out what was going on. First thing to say is, I reckon a 200-yard stretch of road there, I must have spoken to about over a dozen, maybe about 14 people. The vast majority, well, I went actually with one of our colleagues, a cameraman. No one would go on camera. No one wanted to talk about it on camera. There were a couple of people who let me record audio on my phone. The vast majority of people, through fear, they told me, of being labelled racist, didn't want to kind of show their face and go on the record with what they were saying. The overwhelming message I was getting back was one of the saltire, people agreeing with the saltires going up to send a message about their concerns around housing, around the NHS, around public services not being able to cope with the levels of immigration, with housing asylum seekers in the country. It was really the sentiment I was getting from the people there.
So quite clearly, I mean, we've been quite careful about this, and you know, obviously people have different ideas of why they're putting a flag up, what the flag means, but from what you heard today, it was quite clearly linked to that argument over immigration.
Yes, 100%.
I'll just add, I don't get out too much. I am mostly housebound. Mostly. I do get out and about, don't get me wrong. Obviously, I still have doctor's appointments and stuff to go to. Visiting up with family and friends and blah, blah, blah. I do go out for a pint, get some shopping done, get new over-the-shoulder boulder holders and things of that nature. Other clothing. Mostly socks and trousers, really. So we're getting colder. And while I've been seeing it on my street alone, just outside, Super Hubby goes out more than I do. He goes out on like 4 or 5 times a week to go and get stuff for the house. E-liquids. Alcohol for this rampant alcoholic in this house. Going out for bread, milk. I don't need coffee. I won't need coffee for at least another month, I think. I did buy enough of it for less than £13. If anyone needs any tips, I can help them. And he basically noticed them going up between him leaving the house one day with no soul tiles on the lampposts, then going out the following morning He went out during the morning at about 11ish. Went out doing shopping, came back, put the shopping away, went back out to get some stuff for me that I needed. Uh, I needed another respiration, shit like that, and makeup, remover wipes, and blah blah blah, other stuff. So from him coming back in, roughly around 12:30 or something, putting the shopping away, then going back out to get all the stuff and going for a couple of pints, those salt tires on the lamppost outside had went up from basically the end of my street, which is 3/4 of a mile away, up until to the shopping centre, which is for him 6 or 7 minutes walk away, or like 10 to 12 minutes walk away for myself on a good day, or 20 on a bad day. Just soul tires. It was weird, so it went up in the space of like 4 or 5 hours. And they're quite high up on the lamp posts, which means they either had a cherry picker or big fuck off ladders. And to do it in that space of time, that is more than one person. That is at least 3 or 4 people doing that, in my belief. They put up all those soil tiles on the road I currently live on. Christ, I don't even know how many lampposts there is from me. I'm basically at the top end of the street that I live on, down to the bottom end, which is what the name of this street. From one end to the other, all the way, that is more than one person doing it. That's a concerted effort. And to put it basically about a foot below where the actual lamp is. So big fuck off ladder or cherry picker and truck. Pick your choice. Who cares? It's more than one fucking person. I would have loved to have met these people to see what they were doing and actually ask them. I wouldn't dox them if I actually talked to these people. Just saying, why? I love my saltire. I praise the saltire. It's brilliant. I love the flag. As I say again, it is beautiful. It is beautiful in its simplicity. I know that flag. I see it. I know what it means to me. I just want to know why they put it up. I will be curious. Forevermore.
Everyone I spoke to said
wants
this
to
was
meet them.
about immigration, and it was about sending a message that they felt their community was full and they did not want any more
Citation needed.
immigration. They did not want any more asylum seekers housed there. I should say there was one person I spoke to who didn't like the flags. They said you may as well put up swastikas. So it was not universal, everyone happy with them, but there was the vast majority of people I spoke
Equating the saltire with the fucking swastika. Right, I get it. Certain parts of Scottish nationalism fucking over a century ago did agree with the fucking Nazis. I'll give you that. But that's been dead and buried for the best part of a fucking century. As far as I'm concerned, it's 96 years, so basically a century as far as I'm concerned. Do not equate the saltire with fascist bastards. Those people are long dead and buried now. They might have been cremated, but they're all dead. They're all gone now. The people who identify with that flag that I talk to, who I'm related to, who I love desperately and talk to, have a different connotation with this flag. All those people are gone now. The people who exist who actually equate that with the swastika, skill. Stop equating My flag, which I love to my very core, with that one. I will reclaim my flag. Don't get me wrong. That is my flag. I might be a nationalist. I am not a fascist.
Spoke to were happy with that message that they felt they were sending. One of the guys who did give me his name was called Pat Jimison. I literally jumped out the car and he was the first person I spoke to, and he was happy to go on the record, and this is what Pat had to say.
Why do you think it's the saltire that's going up?
Because it's Scotland. The people in Scotland are showing that they're fed up with all these immigrations coming into our country. We feel sorry for these people, but why should we have to pay for these people with all the things that's going on in the world? We've got Ukraine, where you've got wars all over the place, but we're the ones that are having to pay for all this as a Scots person. I'm sorry, boys, but that's the way I feel about it.
Do you think that's a common opinion here?
I would say the people have got a right to stand up for Scotland here in Great Britain, but the English are doing it, we're doing it, the Irish will be doing it shortly. It's our country.
Now, I should have spoke to Pat for quite a while, and he did say multiple times he really felt for people who were fleeing war, who had problems in their country. He talked about seeing what was happening in Palestine and feeling very sad about it all, but we heard him there. It was his view that he felt that Scotland was being asked to shoulder a burden because of that it couldn't afford to shoulder. And he did say his problem was with the politicians. It was not necessarily with individuals. There was another person I spoke to, a woman on the street in Tollcross who wouldn't give her name, but similar sentiment from coming from her as well.
It will no stop it. It will no stop them near it will, but it could cause a bit of animosity in the area. Obviously there are a lot of foreign people or immigrants, whatever you want to call them, about Tollcross. Obviously for the people of Fae, Scotland, we get nothing out of the government. They come in and they get everything. It's gone. Everything. So they do.
It's interesting, isn't it? Because I suppose a lot of the kind of noise around this is
no, they don't. I might get something. More from the Scottish Government for myself, just for myself. I'm speaking for myself just now. I get more money from the Scottish Government than I did from the Westminster Government. To a certain extent, so does myself. I'm super happy with our universal credit, or other benefit that we get for the household. We get money because we are British citizens. They do have a duty of care for us, apparently. Show me proof, please, other than the actual money that they give us, which is just enough. Just enough. I do drink, don't get me wrong on that one. I drink because you need a painkiller. Naughty. I know, wrong of me to do so. I don't care. Please don't lecture me. Or if you do want to lecture me, please be general. You might ire me. The immigrants coming in don't get anywhere near the money that I get myself, just me, just Katie on her own, not the household in general. They don't get anywhere near the money that I get, and I'm just barely coping. So people saying that they get more than anyone else, or saying we're giving money to these people, we have a duty of care. They're asylum seekers. We should be welcoming these people, helping them out, escaping most likely things that we've actually caused in their home countries due to imperialism or actual outright warfare that we've committed on these states and not giving them cover or shielding or escape from what we have wrought on their countries. Delightful. I will invite these people in. I will help educate them. Bring them into our social family, our country, because we definitely need these people. Us in the West, and I'm not just including Britain here, I'm including most modern Western societies, so the global North, if you wish. We are not having children, we are not breeding. I am not breeding, I can't breed. I've never been able to breed, ever. Lack of ovaries just kind of stunt the fact that no. I will invite these people in. We need the tax base. We need these people working to help the economy, to actually improve the standard of living here in the UK. Why the UK in general, and Scotland, and England, and Wales, and fuck it, Ireland, Scotland, Wales, England. There, three. Shouldn't be four. Ireland. They only get one chance at that. We can actually force them to give us another independence vote if we want to. We can have unlimited. Ireland can't. They have one go at this, and if they call it at the wrong time and it goes against them, they're fucked. Unless they want to do other means, if you catch my drift. I'll let you ponder that.
The fact that there's racist sentiment, and but yet people you were speaking to today were suggesting, well, some of them were suggesting that no, this isn't racism. This is about wanting to be heard from politicians, and the fact that the system for them is not working at the moment. It struck me. I mean, we're clearly not the only people to be looking into this issue. One of our colleagues over at ITV News, Peter Smith, he did a really powerful report on this, talking to people in the area. And what one of the women he was speaking to, their message was, it's not racism. It's about politicians listening to us about our situation. But I mean, did you find, when you went out there, did you find racist sentiment? I mean, I know you're saying this sort of issues around housing and health and how that's all interwoven into this. But did you feel there was a kind of real racist sentiment?
There were some things said to me today that I felt did cross the line. Without going into specifics, things that I would definitely be uncomfortable repeating and quite uncomfortable with people saying to me. There's also, I think, a lot of some misinformation that has been consumed by people about how great a lifestyle asylum seekers get while they're here. And there is accommodation provided for people, but there's a lot of stuff about free things they get, which doesn't quite, when you drill into it, play out actually in reality.
But I mean, there is real pressure, especially.
I don't know how to combat this politely. Any suggestions for me to be polite? I do always try to be polite. If slightly forceful or very forceful, but still polite. It doesn't work like that, by the way. We are at the behest of the British government and the immigration policy at this point. Remember that. We don't have immigration up here in Scotland. Please remember, okay? If I had my way, I'd invite them in. People with skills. People who might be classed as low skilled. whatever the fuck that is. And we'd invite them in. We need the people. Scotland's birth rate is down the toilet at this point. I would have helped if I could have. Physically unable, literally. I live vicariously through my nieces and nephews at this point. I have no idea if they're going to become parents or not. And if they want to talk to me, they're more than welcome to. I will talk to them. Even if their parents, my actual sisters, don't want me to. If my nieces or nephews want to come to me to talk about that kind of thing, they're more than welcome to. They just need to get through the barrier of their parents. Mind you, in saying that, both my nephews have free access to me now, which is good. Thank you, younger sister. And my eldest niece or niblet, fully grown adult now, they come to me. They talk to me. Thank you, sweetie. I will never say what we talk about if it gets too sensitive, because none of you reprobates need to know it. They do talk to me. They haven't actually said what they feel about the saltire going up. They like the flag as well. They like the simplicity of it as well, because, as I say, it is beautiful in its simplicity. The Union flag is a bit too much. We call it the Butcher's Apron for a fucking reason, after all.
In somewhere like Glasgow, and we've seen that. We've seen, the leader of the city council, Susan Aitken, talking about saying that this system actually is unsustainable in the sense that much of the housing at the moment is taken up by people, or much of the temporary housing is taken up by refugees.
Yeah.
So,
because Glasgow doesn't
No, it
use
isn't.
hotels as well, and that was a common theme. A lot of people were saying to me about, I know.
Ugh. It's like 3 or 4% here in Glasgow. That's it. Across Scotland, it's like 2.5%, maybe 3%. The vast majority of the refugee hotels, if you want to call them that, or the buildings, the housing, or places where we would put these people, is down in England. There's very little up here in Scotland. Fuck it, I'll double it. It might be 5%, maybe across Scotland as a country. I don't know where you got that idea from, really. Do some research like I do. Well, I do have more time on my hands, obviously.
know people who can't get a house. I know kids who are homeless, and yet we're giving accommodation to people who have recently arrived in Scotland. Another
Introvert. It does get soul draining at times, don't get me wrong. Being able to combat these narratives is always a good thing. It's between like 1 and 2% in the major cities here in Scotland. It's maybe like between 10-15% down in England and Wales. There's only a few, literally only a few up here in Scotland.
Element I think we have to be honest about that people were talking about was cultural differences. Now, it felt like there was a lot of rumour and innuendo going about, but there was stuff about people taking pictures, people leering at women, and that was a sentiment I was getting a lot. So it felt like there was two sides to it. Public services are too stretched for this, and we are uncomfortable with the cultural differences going on. I went into, actually, it was a bar that had eight guys drinking in it this afternoon, and none of them wanted to be recorded, none of them wanted to go on camera. And originally I was trying to see if any of them would, but when I said, right, no recording, let's just chat, they were very open about their concerns about a lot of that. And just at the end of the conversation, I said to them, if there's an election tomorrow, who would you vote for? 8 older guys, every single one of them said they'd be voting Reform. And that was their solution to this problem. They believe that this is an issue. They support the saltires going up. I asked why it's the saltire, and they said because this is Scotland, and they think this is a big issue, and they very much saw the political solution to this problem being voting Reform.
It's interesting how politics really is sort of come into play in this now, and you know that message from people in the area you were speaking to in Glasgow that want politicians to really listen to what they're saying. And John Swinney actually entered the fray into that, and I would contend that actually that's one of the other reasons we're talking about this today, but we'll get to that in just a second. I suppose a fourth reason as well is because Aberdeen City Council has today said that they're actually going to be taking some of the flags down. Flags have been appearing sort of in the Aberdeen area, the ones that obviously Fiona, our listener, has been emailing us about. And it's sort of interesting how the story, I suppose, in some parts is the council taking the flags down, but the story really is about the flags being up.
Yeah, and an interesting nugget on that, actually, I asked everyone I spoke to today who put them up, and they all actually said they appeared overnight around a week ago. So at least people were telling me they didn't know who'd put them up. I think, you know, Aberdeen and Aberdeenshire Council have taken them down and given the reasoning being, well, you're not allowed to hang anything from a lamppost. It's kind of public property. The Glasgow ones are still up.
Yeah, I mean, you can see the council's point of view on this, and the fact that if it's dangerous, people putting things up or you know causes criminal damage or whatever it is, but you know you can see their point. But listen, I think our colleague Ben Phillip is doing this story today, and he's been speaking to people there.
It was a sign of good patriotism, so it was a good feel good factor.
The council are now removing them. How do you feel about that?
I think it's a disgrace. Other flags they can just put up willy-nilly and things like that, they'll be left alone, but our own national flag, I think it's an utter disgrace.
I suppose some people would argue that these flags have been linked to kind of anti-immigration and asylum seekers and the like, and the council say that they've been put up without permission, I suppose.
You put up your own properties, things like that, you know what I mean? But I don't think it's against. I don't think there's any right-wing agenda associated with that.
I love the Scotland flag. I love the saltire. I'd love to see it fly more, but the reasoning behind it is what there's a lot of misinformation being spread, and people are quoting members of the EDL, the BNP and everything that are in jail for what they're saying that these men from the illegal immigrants are doing. So if you're going to quote people that are doing this, then make sure you've got the facts right.
The council are now removing them today. How do you feel about that?
Mixed emotions. I like seeing my flag flying. I'm proud to be Scottish, but I don't support racism.
One of the people there referenced the sort of the links to EDL and a sort of flag, you know, kind of iconography. I mean, it is something that has been happening actually in England and has sort of the kind of campaign they're using flags in that way. It somehow seems, you know, historically more to fit with the St George's Cross, doesn't it? I mean, your sort of far-right extremists have co-opted the St George's Cross more than I know, that they have a sort of saltire.
I mean, certainly to start out with the obvious caveat of, you know, there are plenty of people who will fly the St George's Cross, fly the Union Jack, who do so for good patriotic reasons like the Lionesses winning the football.
Well, that's the thing during the summer. It was all about showing, support for the Lionesses, and that's where it's all got quite kind of.
But what
sticky.
I don't think you can deny is historically there have been some groups who've used that to send a right-wing message. Those flags. I think what's interesting here, and the last person Ben spoke to there really kind of summed it up, was, I don't know, correct me if I'm wrong, I've never known the Saltire to be taken by a group who want to send an anti-immigration message. And this seems to have very quickly happened. And I guess that's what we're seeing, is all of a sudden people like that person Ben spoke to, who likes the Saltire, who want...
Hi. Hi. Hello. Hi. I love my flag. I want my flag. I know what I see, what I feel when I see my flag, when I see the Saltire. I say again, I love it. It is amazing. I have so many warm, heartfelt struggles through what we went through as a country associated with the Saltire. I don't want it to be used for an anti-immigration or anti-left-wing or right-wing campaign. It has never stood for that as far as I'm concerned. Don't get me wrong, people have used it in those connotations in those ways throughout history. I denounce all of them. Again, I love my flag. Please do not equate my emotion to this flag to being a right winger. I am not. I am a leftist. I'm a Marxist. I'm an eco-socialist. I want my country to flourish. I want my country to be a global leader for eco-socialism. I want to make sure my flag doesn't get used in that sort of way ever. Ever. If I can get my flag back from these kind of sentiments, I will fucking do it in a heartbeat.
Wants to see it fly, actually thinking, but I don't think it's appropriate in this context, which suggests these groups, these people who are putting this up, have had some success tying this flag at this point in time to an anti-immigration message. And that is something that I'm never aware of happening with the Saltire before, and why this is kind of such an interesting development in Scotland.
Yeah, and so many people have different ideas of what the flag means, and obviously, people look at the Saltire with pride. And John Swinney, we were saying he's entered the fray. He's actually been talking about what the Saltire means to him and what he thinks it does represent.
Over the summer, the language in Westminster around immigration and asylum has been utterly chilling. Politicians calling for mass deportations. They demand that we pull out of international human rights treaties. No one seems to be ringing the alarm bell. Well, I am. I'm ringing the alarm bell for our values, for our common humanity, for our commitment to the oppressed and for those seeking sanctuary. Friends, let us join with others in saying unequivocally, our Saltire is a flag of welcome, and refugees are welcome here in Scotland.
Good news, everyone. The climate crisis has been overblown the entire time. Yay!
And we'll go back to last night. Who is here? Who's here? I will. I have no idea if I'm going to get clocked on my YouTube, but fuck it. Bloody hell. What the? Play? Play. What the fuck? Oh, for fuck's sake. Come on.
I don't wanna be me. I don't wanna be me anymore. Two glass houses, 20 stones. soldier. You don't wanna go to war with a soldier. Them niggas thought I was dead. Them niggas thought I was dead.
It's more to life than just fucking working, bro.
Okay, bitch, I've been trapped in a zoo. Nigga got packs like the crack of a tooth. I need some space like the back of a coupe. I'm trying to magic wand, I'm trying to poof. So, grab the blammer. Fuck all the glitz and the glamour. I want a crib in Atlanta. Me and my bitch changing pampers. Them niggas thought I was dead. Them niggas thought I was dead. These niggas thought I was dead. Them niggas thought I was dead. Them niggas thought I was dead. Them niggas thought I was dead. Niggas thought I was dead. Them niggas thought I was dead. These niggas thought I was dead. Them niggas thought I was dead. Niggas thought I was dead. Them niggas thought I was dead. These niggas thought I was dead. Them niggas thought I was dead.
Get love in the hood, but I must leave. Born way in the hills where they can't see. Swear I burned 20 M's 2018. Like I played for the Bills going no deep. Niggas tend to get rich and they act weird. How you walking at the party with your butt pierced? Should I rather play golf to the check clear? Niggas turned 35, now they out here. Nigga rose out of right trying to program. I was really outside with the dope man. Now I really got M's, nigga, no chance. I don't wanna be seen in your bromance.
That gene. Never seen a nigga with a fucking cat gene. If I never think he gon' get black beat. Them niggas thought I was dead. Them niggas thought I was dead. These niggas thought I was dead. Them niggas thought I was dead. Niggas thought I was dead. These niggas thought I was dead. Them niggas thought I was dead. I don't wanna be found. I don't wanna be down. I don't wanna be found. I don't wanna be down. I don't wanna be found. I don't wanna be down.
Oh, you know, Tyler, I'm so sick of these niggas. They don't know you.
White boys mocking this shit and y'all mad at me, y'all can suck my dick. Pull up old tweets, pull up old t-shirts, all that, I'll moonwalk over that bitch. CT changed like the fit got dirty. I was young man and a nigga hit 30. I was 1 mil and a nigga hit 30. Bitch, you ain't Coco golf, you can't serve me. Anti-what? Yeah, right. Niggas running they mouth, keep it airtight. I'ma crash shit out till my hair white. I got too much drive, I'm a terabyte. I got a big old head, I ain't like these niggas. Don't put me with these niggas. I don't ha kiki with these niggas. Lord, it's squad, baby, I don't be with these niggas. Same boys with me since back then. Everything I said I do, I did. Talk my shit, I show damn well. You ain't like that shit, I just do it again. 5 in the morning, I be hating on shit. 10 in the evening, I be hating on shit. 10 years later, might have changed my mind. I'm a fake ass bitch, don't kill me. I'm a hypocrite, ain't real, ain't really. I'm a big troll, I'm silly. Fuck you know about being better than them niggas that you hate. You ain't good at shit, you can't feel me. Fuck your one trick goal, I'm Billy. Shout out Papa, he for real. Don't test V, he pop for real. Had to call him like stop and chill. Look, I tries to be out the way. I like the fun with the lay. I like some truth in my space. Y'all niggas friendly and fake. That's big bro. How when y'all met yesterday? This feel planet of apes. Why am I filled with this hate? Got freedom in every way. Y'all wanna take what I got, but y'all do not got what it take. I don't wanna be found, you hoe. I don't wanna be down, you hoe. I don't like coming around, you hoe. I will not knock at your door. Just me, that's what I said. Try these niggas is fed. Me, I'm over here. These niggas thought I was dead. You don't wanna go to war with a soldier. You don't wanna go to war with a
Oh no. Oh crap.
a bunch of random people joy is just absolutely one of my favorite things to experience in this dreary, dreary place that we're all forced to trudge through.
Okay, we're gonna do one more song. We're gonna watch the original video, and then we'll find a puppet history to watch. And then heading out, we will watch CJ's posted music. There's no Karen say, "Can you be quiet, please?" Yeah. Alright. Alright, we ready for another piece of Queen music? What the fuck happened to my screen capture? Holy hell. What the fucking... What? What is happening? Oh shit. Hi, Mad Cat.
Hi, Mad Cat.
How are you doing?
Welcome.
I fucked up my video capture.
Oh no.
Yeah, no, just give me a second. I don't know what the fuck happened here. Oh, Jesus balls.
Friends, if you aren't following Mad Cat, please do. She's just a delight.
Oh,
what the fuck happens here?
I don't know. What'd you do?
We're just gonna delete it. Remove. Yes. Hey, how are you doing? How is your leg, Mad Cat?